Recording.
Greetings, friends, and welcome. On this first Sunday of May, the weather is warming and spring flowers are in bloom, and here we are on Zoom, like thousands of other faith communities. I do miss seeing my dear friends in person. But I'm also so grateful for the ability to meet across the miles and to welcome friends and new friendly faces from across the country. We're so glad that you're here this morning. One of the reasons I love being a Unitarian Universalist is that we learn from the deep wisdom that is at the heart of all faith traditions. At this time of year, many Buddhists around the world celebrate Vesak Day, or Buddha's birthday. So I'd like to welcome you into worship this morning with an invitation to the Buddhist practice of letting go. Let go of your worry. Let go of how things will all work out. Pause and just breathe. Notice. Let go. Accept. Be. We'll begin our service by visiting the Buddha statue in Linda and Pete's garden. And Linda Clark has our chalice lighting this morning.
Suspended Between by Linda Barnes. Suspended between all that was and all that might be, we struggle to find this very moment, to live this very moment. Let us sit together for a moment and savor this moment. Let us relish this between time where past meets future. Let us harbor a faith that reminds us that right now, right here, is enough.
And now we're reading Free from Suffering, adapted from the Bodhisattva Vows. May all sentient beings be well and enjoy the root of happiness, free from suffering and the root of suffering. May they not be separated from the joy beyond sorrow. May they dwell in spacious equanimity, free from craving, fear, and ignorance. And now Deborah has a story for the generations. Need to unmute yourself, Deborah.
Unmute. Now can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Once upon a time, in a kingdom in the mountains in what is now known as Nepal, the queen of the kingdom, named Maya, which in Nepali means love, was waiting for the birth of her first child. One night as she slept, she had a dream. When she woke, she knew this dream was very powerful and had special significance. Oh, come on. Sorry. Okay, go to the next screen. There we go. Now, in this time, in this region of the world, there were many people who knew about things. They knew what the stars were telling us, and the plants, and the animals, and the rocks, and the weather, and they also knew what dreams were trying to say. Queen Maya knew that this dream was telling her that this baby would be a great and wonderful leader of the people. The queen followed the tradition of her ancestors and began a journey back to her childhood home to have her baby. As she traveled, she stopped along the way at a place called Lumbini Park, where there were beautiful, splendid gardens. As she walked along the paths, all the animals in the area turned toward her and came and gathered near her, and the flowers turned their heads toward her, craning their flowery necks toward the brightness of the life she carried in her. A tree even reached down her branch to hold her and support her, and there she stood, supported by this ancient tree, and gave birth to a beautiful, healthy boy. This baby was named Siddhartha, the boy that would later be known as the Buddha. Now we have to remember this story is a myth, and like all good myths, it has some parts in it that might be a little hard to believe. But we can keep in mind that these parts are there for a reason. They're like a poem, trying to describe something wonderful, but not necessarily factual. Now, scholars agree that there was a man who lived in this region of the world around this time, and he was an enlightened and compassionate person and a great teacher, the person who is called the Buddha. Buddhists around the world celebrate the birth of Buddha in May. Of all days, it is a great day to really think about what a Buddha is. Because what a Buddha is not limited to one person. What a Buddha really is a moment whenever great wisdom and compassion come together in this world, in a thought, in an action, in a kind word, a moment of selfless generosity, breathing love into the world. That is what a Buddha is. Buddhists say that we all have a bodhisattva nature, a Buddha waiting to blossom and attain enlightenment. Have you ever noticed one of these moments? A moment of kindness, compassion, and love offered to another? In that moment is when a Buddha is born. And now we will all join in singing our hymn this morning, May I Be Well, May I Be Filled with Loving Kindness. We'll do the first verse through, and then the second verse you replace I with you, and in the third verse you replace I with we.
May I be filled
And now, will you join me in a moment of silence as we hold in our hearts all that has been brought here today, whether expressed in words or kept private and still? Will you join me in a spirit of prayer and mindfulness, spirit of life? Keep us mindful and aware of both the joy and the sorrow of this world. Right now, today, we are in the middle of a pandemic that has claimed the lives of almost 4,000 people right here in Massachusetts. There are now 1 million confirmed cases of COVID in the US and over 3 million across the globe. Be with them, be with the millions of people who are working to save lives, to provide care and comfort, to feed us and provide medicine and other necessities of life, putting themselves at risk every day. We remember all of these people this morning as we pick up our bells or chimes and send our prayers and deep love into the world on the wings of our ringing sound this morning. Dennis, you unmute us, please? And we offer up whatever word of assent we might wish. Thank you, everyone. You know, sometimes my brain is a child. It screams, it throws tantrums, it's contrary and illogical. It cries inconsolably, it's scared of shadows, and it can't fall asleep. Is your brain ever like that? One of my favorite scenes from a movie is in The Wedding Singer, when a man in the bar is commiserating with a buddy and says, you know, sometimes you just need someone to put their arms around you and tell you everything's gonna be all right. The core of my brain, the part that only reacts to threat, pain, pleasure, or safety, is not feeling really safe right now. It wants surety. It wants reassurance. It wants reassurance that everything is going to be all right. And this poses a problem for my brain's reasoning centers. I keep trying to work out how things can possibly be all right so that I can reassure my baby brain. I'm used to looking at the larger picture for reassurance in times like this. In the time before, I could say, sure, there are human rights abuses, but there is evidence that the arc of history is long and people are making advances all the time. Who could have believed, for instance, 10 years ago that today same-sex marriage would be legal in all 50 states? We'll keep on working and keep on making progress. In the time before, the long view was at least somewhat reassuring. That was before. Right now, with so much being destroyed and people making horrible decisions that imperil our human rights, our livelihoods, our most vulnerable populations, that imperil our lives and our earthly home, right now, I admit I cannot find the comfort I need in any real way in any of the larger pictures that I see. Not only don't I find any hope on some days, I'm sorry, let me say that again. It's not that I don't find any hope, because I do. But hope is a shiny thing beyond reach. And right now, what I need is reassurance, solid, real, surety, embracing comfort, a feeling of safety amid the storm that's not based on wishful thinking or uncertain predictions. In a time such as this, where do we find it? Not in the long view or the short view, and not from outside of us. In this time of stripping our lives down to the basics, of turning inward, of slowing down and focusing on what's most important, I'm finding my answers within. And lately, I've been drawn to the story of a 14th century woman called Julian of Norwich. Dame Julian, or Mother Julian, as she came to be known in later years, was 5 years old when bubonic plague ravaged her home city of Norwich, England. It arrived in 1348 in fleas on the rats aboard shipping vessels. As much as a third of the city's population may have died in the 2 years before that pandemic subsided. No doubt this experience made a deep impression on the young girl. At age 30, Julian became ill and lay on what she thought was her deathbed. And as she hovered between life and death, she had a series of extraordinary visions that convinced her of the everlasting, unadulterated, unconditional love of God. Sounds kind of universalist, doesn't it? She apparently felt she needed solitude and time to explore the implications of her discovery. So she became what was called an anchorite. The role of an anchorite represented a life of paradoxical freedom and constraint for a woman. No matter how rich or powerful, it may have been one of the only ways of having any form of privacy or solitude. An anchorite was an anchor hold was a room built like a shed into the outer wall of a church, into which the anchorite formally withdrew in order to pursue a life dedicated to prayer and spiritual practice. Through windows opening onto the street and into the church, the occupant could participate in worship services, receive food, books, writing materials, and other necessary physical items, and converse with people who might seek their wisdom or counsel. Some had joined a small cloister garden in which they could walk, but in theory, once formally enclosed after a church ceremony, they would never leave that room again for the rest of their lives. They were expected to have patrons who would pay for their upkeep, and they usually had one or more servants or chaperones. And perhaps Mother Julian kept a cat. Although it might sound like an austere life, an established anchorite not uncommonly became the larger community's spiritual advisor. Contemporaries wrote of seeking out her wisdom and comforting words. A couple of wills survive, leaving small sums of money to her, and other than that, we really don't know much about her life. But what we do know about Mother Julian is by the way of the account she wrote, exploring her spiritual experiences that gave rise to her extraordinary and innovative interpretations of Christian theology. Departing from centuries of patriarchal orthodoxy, she expressed her experience of God's love for all humanity in compellingly tender and maternal terms, including in one of her visions, Jesus's assurance to her that human sin could not prevent the ultimate triumph of goodness, and that in spite of sin, all shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. as I let go of trying to figure out how things might ever be well again, I find this phrase repeating in my brain. The words seem to be the emotional equivalent of a parent's arms around my heart, reassuring me that despite all I do not know about the future, I am loved. Not because God or goddess or some predetermined destiny for humankind or the world, but because love exists, the greatest force that we know. Because love exists, all will be well. These were not glib words to Julian, a woman who had lost neighbors and friends and probably family to the Black Death, and who, as some suggest, had buried children of her own before she suffered the near-death experience that would inspire one of Christianity's most memorable and beloved mystical texts. In fact, it's only those who have stood with Julian at the grave of the world as we have known it, who can have the audacity to seize these words as a pledge and a promise of survival, that all shall be well, and all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. And now we will hear All Will Be Well by Meg Barnhouse.
Julian, you are holy, you are holding my hand. And Julian, you are holy, you are holding my hand. She said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. I said, Julian, do you not know about sorrow? And Julian, do you not know about pain? And I said, Julian, do you not know about hunger? And Julian, do you not know about shame? But she said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. I said, Julian, do you not know about loneliness? And Julian, do you not know about disease? And I said, Julian, do you not know about cruelty? I said, Julian, it's too much, it brought me to my knees. But she said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. And she said, no one does not know about sorrow, and no one does not know about pain. She said, no one does not know about hunger, and no one does not know about shame. And she said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. And she said, no one does not know about loneliness, and no one does not know about disease. And she said, no one does not know about cruelty. She said, I know, it's too much, it brought me to my knees, where I heard, all will be well, all will be well, all holy, you are holding my hand. And Julian, you are holy, you are holding my hand. She said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. Then she said, baby girl, do you not know about tenderness? She said, baby girl, do you not know about friends? And she said, baby girl, do you not know about the spirit? She said, baby girl, do you not know it's only love that never ends? And so all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. And so all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well.
We'll have the closing words from Linda Clark.
May love permeate your every heartbeat. May faith guide your every step. May truth and compassion be your eternal traveling companions. And may a deep, abiding spirit rest joyously in your every waking wish and your every resting dream.
Amen and blessed be. In a moment, you'll be invited into one of our coffee hour breakout rooms, and we'll have about 7 minutes to chat and catch up with each other. And then you'll get a notice that your room will close in a minute, and then we'll come back together, whoever would like to, into this main Zoom room to mingle a bit more and say our goodbyes. I'll remain here in our main room today. If you'd like to stay and talk to me for a few moments this morning, you're very welcome to do so. Dennis, will you invite us into our breakout rooms now?
I may have to at some point. Health and management.
Here we go. See you all in a few minutes.